of embarrassing, huh? Here's something that every human being knows, that it has to be breathing to be alive. And yet we don't know that. We claim to care about God and His Word. Now we're talking millions and millions of people all over the world who think that some reflex motility, which is the placenta feeding emotions and adrenaline and all kinds of chemicals to the fetus so the fetus kicks, we think that's life. Yeah, and if you were actually alive in the womb, you'd be screaming because you'd be trapped. But we don't think about that. Now, how is it that so many nice people, so many seemingly normal people, can be so brained out when it comes to this very obvious fact that you're not alive if you're not breathing? I don't need the Bible to tell me that. But I got the Bible to tell me that, but I don't read it. So my mind is turned off. How come? Satan and company mess with everybody. They have one goal, and that is to beat God. And they have a particular strategy which God has revealed from Genesis forward, and that strategy is to unite religion and politics. In Genesis 3, the temptation that Satan makes to the woman, you will be like God if you eat this magical fruit. That's a religious temptation. And it's based on a political motive, because the argument Satan was making was, oh, you know, God is withholding information from you. He has power over you, so you will get power if you eat this fruit, because then you will have knowledge and you will know as much as God. So God uses that as the indictment in Genesis 3:22, which we saw in the Genesis videos. Yeah. So then Satan ports religion over into what was commonly phallic, sex. Oh, sex. You had to have sex with the temple prostitute in order to be close to the God. That was the common kind of religion after Adam fell. And we know from the Tower of Babel, which really should be translated the Ziggurat of Babel, because it was a religious building they were building, that this whole business of political power and religion was the common thing of pagan culture. The king was always the chief priest, and that continued right up through Rome. Pontifex Maximus was the title held by the emperor. So the uniting of church and state is something the Bible's always been against. And one of the reasons for the Mosaic Law was to separate church and state, which is why Moses was not a priest, but Aaron was. And you had the Mosaic Law divided into three parts. One part was spiritual, and the other two parts were for civil administration. And, you know, they used to call it in theology about 50 years ago, the terms were Codex 1, Codex 2, and Codex 3. So if you look in old theological texts, you'll find this division in the Mosaic Law separating church and state. In theology of that time period, they've lost the distinction since then because theology has gone down the tubes in the last 50 years. Some of the best theologians we've ever had have come about, and some of the worst. So modern day Christians who are totally ignorant of all this try to unite church and state. Well, that's what Revelation 17 is about. God warns us in 96 AD, just when it was getting started, that there would be a politicized religion in the name of Christianity. Mystery means church in the New Testament. Mysterion in Greek. And God was warning us about that. Don't unite Christianity to politics. Don't unite Christianity to religion. It's not a religion, it's a relationship. But beginning about 96 AD, which is when those stupid church fathers got started, God knew, He's going to warn us. Now, it turned out that the particular flavor of denomination that got started then was Catholic, but it could have been any flavor, and the pro-lifers are not Catholic. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. And they're all political. They're all crusading to Caesar, trying to give to Caesar what belongs to God. So, pro-life is satanic. Now, there are a whole lot of nice people who are satanic. Satan's a very nice person. You should see how nice he talks to the Lord in Matthew 4's Greek. Oh, please eat, turn the stones into bread. It's called the imperative of entreaty in Greek. Oh yeah, Satan's people are very nice. And they don't know that Satan's using them, okay? The pro-lifers don't know that Satan's using them, but Revelation 17 tells you he is. Because they're doing exactly what Revelation 17 warns against. The harlot is the religion, and the beast is the politics. And that's what the pro-lifers are doing. And they are so obsessed with it, another sign of satanic involvement, because human beings can't be that obsessed on their own. They need help. Another sign of satanic involvement is their obsessiveness about it. And a further sign of it is the fact they can't read Bible. And a third sign of it is that they also can't read American history. The pro-lifers tend to think and say the opposite of what real American history has been. America was founded by deists, not by Christians. I mean, some of the deists were also Christians, but they were believing in separation of church and state, and they founded it, the nation, to be separate church and state, because Europe wasn't like that, and they wanted to be different. But you won't know that if you talk to the pro-lifers. They'll be telling you, oh, God intended to make this a Christian nation. No. See, if you can't read your Bible, you can't read your history either. So the bottom line is that the pro-life movement is satanic. We are warned about it, about not politicizing. We are warned to stay out of politics, Romans 13, 1 Timothy 2. We're supposed to pray for our leaders, not politicize on Christian issues. In fact, we're not even allowed to sue each other if you look at 1 Corinthians 6. All right? Those are all spiritual matters. Because we're going to rule the world forever in eternity. So we better learn how to be rulers now. And there are times when rulers don't get involved. You put your hands off. So pro-life is satanic. How do you get out of that? Because, nobody wants to be satanic. Well, the way to get out of it is to find out what the Bible actually says. I mean, God isn't pro-abortion either. We know that. I mean, none of us are pro-abortion, really. Nobody wants to have an abortion. So what does the Bible say? And that's what we're going to cover in future episodes. The Bible's basic answer is, I made you, I chose you, I formed you, so be pro-God's choice on everything. Well, whether you have a kid or not is a choice. God, do you want that? A woman is pregnant. Does God want her to abort? Chances are the answer is no, but she better ask. Now, if you're not a Christian, you don't care about those things. But if you are a Christian, you should. And that's really what the next episode's going to cover. Being pro-God's choice. So being pro-life is being pro whose life? If you're acting like the pro-lifers are today, you're pro-Satan's life. You're pro-Revelation 17. You're pro-harlot. Harlot is always depicted as fake relationship with God. Turning relationship with God into a prostitution. Religion is always depicted as a harlot in the Old Testament. And you don't want that. You don't, definitely, no pro-lifer means to be a harlot. So then be pro God's life. God's life would be what? Well, what does God choose? If you would choose life, like Moses said in Deuteronomy, then choose God's thoughts. Choose God's decisions. And that's what we're going to see in the next episode.